When we want to remember something special, we usually form a helpful tradition around it as a special reminder. Take your birthday, for instance. Your family celebrates your birthday every year to remember you. There's birthday candles and baby pictures, stories, and presents, all to help make a special day to remember your birth. What are some special traditions your family uses to help you remember important things? See if you can name 3. Go ahead, talk about it as a family. Now, speaking of special traditions, did you know that Jesus began a special tradition for his people to remember him? He did, and though you may be thinking about Christmas, it's actually something else. Here, let me give you some hints. Hint number 1. Jesus began this tradition the night before he would die on the cross. Hint number 2. Jesus was with his disciples eating a special meal that Christians called the Last Supper. Hint number 3, the last hint, this special tradition uses bread and grape juice.
Did you figure it out from all of Johnny's hints? This special tradition is called communion, and it's something Jesus commanded the church to do. But what exactly is communion? Why do we do it? Why does the church use bread and juice? And what does it really mean? Well, to answer that, let's take a look back at when it all started. Grab a Bible and look up Luke chapter 21, verses 14 through 20. Read the story of the Last Supper with your family and answer the following questions. Remember, pause the video if you need more time. At the Last Supper, Jesus instituted communion to be a remembrance for the church until he returned again. But did you catch why? Do this to remember me, Jesus said. So communion is a super important practice for the church to remember how Jesus gave his life to provide forgiveness of sin and the hope of salvation. And to help us remember even more, Jesus gave 2 extremely important symbols, the bread and the juice. Let's think about the bread in communion. The bread is a symbol representing Jesus' body. Did you know what Jesus did with the bread before he gave it to his disciples? He broke it. The bread represents Jesus' body offered as a payment for sin. When we eat the bread in communion, we're remembering Jesus' suffering in his body in our place for sin. The juice is also a symbol. It helps us remember Jesus' blood that was shed so that people could have peace with God. In fact, the cup represents a new covenant or promise between God and his people. In this new covenant, God makes us his children not by the good things we do, but by his grace through faith in Jesus. So when we drink the juice in communion, we are remembering God's covenant purchased with Jesus' blood to bring salvation to you and to me. Now, when we eat the bread and drink the cup together with the church, you are saying, we believe in Jesus. We belong to Jesus. We remember all that Jesus did to purchase our salvation. Let's think about this some more. Answer the following questions with your family. Now, here are some really important things to remember as you prepare to take communion. Communion is for believers only. Only those who have placed their faith in Jesus should participate. Communion isn't magical. You won't receive more favor from God, and it doesn't mean life will go better for you if you take it. Communion is a symbol. When we take communion, we aren't literally drinking Jesus' blood and eating his body. Instead, the bread and juice are symbols to help us remember. Communion is a time for examination. As you prepare to participate in communion, it's important to examine yourself. Are there sins in your life that you need to confess? Are you walking closely with Jesus? Communion is the perfect time to come near to Jesus and turn from sin.
For nearly 2,000 years, the church has celebrated communion. And if you're a believer, you too can participate in this special time remembering Jesus and his sacrifice, his gift of love and salvation to you and to me. As we close our time together, read from 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Then ask your mom and dad if you're ready to participate in communion. If they say yes, join with the church in remembering all that Jesus has done to bring you salvation.